Russia directly attacked Ukraine's vital lifeline. The German minister warned that Russia was about to launch a new attack campaign. The president of Ukraine called on allies to increase aid for the air defense system. Russia confiscated U.S. mine clearance vehicles worth tens of millions of dollars in Ukraine. Russia directly attacked Ukraine's vital lifeline. Russia conducted airstrikes on railway infrastructure to disrupt the transport of Western weapons to the front in Ukraine. The U.S. approved a $61 billion aid package for Ukraine this week, and said the first shipment would be delivered to Ukraine in the next few days. The decision alleviated the severe shortage of artillery ammunition that had plagued Kyiv forces for months. When the aid was completed after 6 months of debate in the U.S. Congress, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu announced on April 23 that Moscow would strengthen attacks on Western logistics centers and weapons depots. Mr. Shoigu said Moscow had dispelled the myth of the superiority of Western weapons and Russian forces had gained the initiative along the 1,000 km battlefront. Ukraine's National Railway Company said on April 25 that Ukraine's railway infrastructure has become the target of Russian attacks in the eastern Donetsk region, the northeastern Kharkov region and the central Cherkasy region. The attack in Donetsk, the main focus of Russia's offensive in the east, killed 3 electricians working for the railway company and injured 4 others. On April 26, the Russian Ministry of Defense announced that Russian forces had attacked a train carrying military equipment provided by the West to Ukraine. The combined attack involved aircraft, missiles, and artillery. A train carrying Western weapons and military equipment was attacked in the settlement of Udaknoy in the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, the statement added. In the Kharkiv region, bordering Russia, an attack occurred at a train station in the city of Balaklia, injuring 13 people, including 3 railway workers, according to Ukrainian officials. In the past 24 hours, Russian forces also destroyed 5 U.S.-made M777 howitzers, 2 U.S. M102 105mm light-towed howitzers, and U.S.-designed and /TPQ-50 radar, a British FH-70 cannon and other military equipment. The German minister warned that Russia was about to launch a new attack campaign. Russia is producing more weapons and ammunition than it is using in Ukraine, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius announced and commented that this only means that Moscow is preparing for an offensive campaign. New, even a long war of attrition. Minister Pistorius pointed out that most or part of what is currently produced by the Russian defense industry is no longer brought forward but ends up in storage. If you are a naive person, you may think that Russia is doing this out of caution, but for experienced military people or a skeptic, they all think that, in this case, Russia is planning a major military campaign in the near future. The relentless pace of work of enterprises in the Russian military-industrial complex has long shocked Western politicians. Many statistics and comparisons show that the Russian Federation not only produces more than the volume of ammunition used in Ukraine, but also produces significantly more weapons and ammunition than the entire defense industry. The West, which simply does not have the necessary capacity. Meanwhile, Russian experts have rejected Western arguments and affirmed that, despite the serious shortage of its arsenal, the U.S. and its allies continue to supply weapons to Ukraine, spending taxpayers' money for these purposes. The West's goal is to turn Ukraine into an anti-Russian tool by all means, exhausting Russia. Therefore, to explain their unreasonable decisions, they used all tools to propagate the fact that Moscow was accumulating troops in preparation for a new attack. At the same time, Western politicians sometimes deliberately do not specify exactly who the Russian military will attack, but sometimes they directly declare that the next attack target will be a NATO country. Likewise, in his final statement, Boris Pistorius did not specify who the Russian military would attack, but everyone understood that he meant Russia would attack Europe or NATO members in the Baltic. That only serves to force other allies to spend more money on the defense budget, provide more weapons to the Ukrainian armed forces, continuing the strategy of weakening Russia at all costs, even if sacrifice to the last Ukrainian. The president of Ukraine called on allies to increase aid for the air defense system. On April 26, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on Western allies to increase air defense system support for Kyiv, saying that interruptions in U.S. support had caused Ukraine difficulties on the ground during the conflict. Conflict with Russia. Mr. Zelensky spoke above during an online meeting with supporting countries led by the U.S. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said the meeting focused on strengthening Ukraine's air defense capabilities. The meeting took place in the context that the U.S. Congress had just approved a $61 billion support package for Ukraine after half a year of delay. U.S. President Joe Biden also quickly announced a $1 billion aid package for Kyiv, focusing on Ukraine's urgent need for anti-aircraft ammunition and artillery shells. Washington hopes this new support will help Ukraine rebuild its defense capabilities, but does not believe that Kyiv should launch large-scale offensive campaigns against Russia in the immediate future. Russia has repeatedly voiced its opposition to the West transferring weapons to Ukraine. Deputy Chairman of the Russian Security Council Dmitry Medvedev once emphasized that the West's increased supply of weapons to Ukraine leads to nothing but a dead end. Russia confiscated mine-clearing vehicles worth $4 million from the U.S. to Ukraine. Russia released photos of the M1150 mine-clearing vehicle captured from Ukraine, which shows the vehicle's complex armor structure based on the M1 Abrams body frame. Russian reporter Vladimir Solovyov on April 25 published a video of the country's tow trucks evacuating Ukraine's M1150 mine-clearing vehicle from the area near the village of Berdikai, northwest of the city of Avdiivka in Donetsk province. Images posted later showed the M1150 lying on a trailer, preparing to be taken to the rear. The Ukrainian mine-clearing vehicle appeared to have suffered a huge explosion from an anti-tank mine, causing part of the armor on the left side of the turret and side of the vehicle to be blown away, and the heavy-duty chain and wheel assembly were also damaged. A photo considered by Western military experts to be very rare, or even unprecedented, shows the cross-section and complex armor structure on the M1150 turret. Complex armor consists of many layers of steel and non-metallic materials, designed specifically to deal with armor-piercing high-explosive shells, heat, and possesses the same defense ability as uniformly rolled steel armor with a much larger mass. Despite having similar design principles, each power's complex armor uses different materials and structures to counter the opponent's main weapons. Seizing the M1150, which uses the M1A1 Abrams tank chassis, can help Russia research the effectiveness of anti-tank weapons and methods of dealing with U.S. weapons. However, some American experts believe that Russia will not gain much benefit from the M1150 and M1A1SA Abrams tanks in current Ukrainian service. The ABV series is not equipped with the advanced armor on the M1A1 SEP V2/3 version used by the U.S. It also does not have the gunner position and digital combat control system of the Abrams tank, an anonymous armor expert told the U.S. military website Warzone. This is the first time Russia has confiscated this type of vehicle since it appeared in Ukraine in November 2023. It is unclear how many M1150s Kyiv owns, because the Pentagon has never released information about aid of this type of vehicle to the Ukrainian army. Open-source data statistics show that Kyiv lost at least 2 M1150 vehicles due to landmines near the city of Avdiivka. Losing the M1150 vehicle is a big loss to the Ukrainian army's mine clearance capabilities, causing them more difficulties when facing dense minefields in the enemy defense network. The 47th Mechanized Brigade, the Iron Fist unit that operates all of Ukraine's Abrams tanks and M1150 mine-clearing vehicles, once owned 6 Leopard 2 are mine-clearing vehicles that Finland donated, but lost half of them. This was during an unsuccessful attack in early June 2023.